Good afternoon. So today we are analyzing the data from the baseball throw pretest that we scored a couple weeks back. So the first things first is that this is a pretest, so the scores are on the low end, but that is because it is before doing much training or much explanation. The tests were on a scale from 1 to 4, 1 being rarely displayed cues, and 4 being that the student often or always displayed the specified cue. There were 6 cues specified in the throwing pretest. So the average score for the throwing for the class in general was a 1.67, whereas 1 is the lowest score and 4 is the highest score. So 1.67 was the average overall across all students and across all cues. The range for this skill was from 1 to 3. So no students actually scored the highest possible, which would have been a 4. The lowest score for this skill was a 1. Majority of the students scored the 1. It was scored about 50% of the time, and each student scored it at least once, most of them multiple times. The highest score for this skill was a 3, and it was scored only 16% of the time across the 6 cues. There were only 2 students that actually successfully scored a 3. No students scored the highest possible score of a 4, showing that there were no students that accurately displayed the cues at all times. You can see on the left side of the screen, these are the individual cues and the breakdown of what percentage of the class selected which option. So the next question, what does the data tell you about students' readiness toward meeting the learning outcomes? So at the time of this pretest, like I said, it is a pretest, so it is before they've really undergone much practice or many drills to help develop their skill. So it's understandable that they're pretty low in their scoring. And so this kind of is expected. It would show that they are obviously not near the learning goal or the learning objective that should occur by the end of the unit. Hopefully, at the end of the unit, when we redo these tests, these scores should show that they are much closer to achieving that if they have not already achieved that learning objective. Alright, so based on the data set, for this group of students, I would develop more basic lessons, more basic drills to make sure that I've really developed a foundation, a solid base to work off of. If they don't understand the basics, then they're never going to be able to accomplish the more complex skills. So the first things first is to make sure that they all understand the basic format of the throw before moving on into any more complex throws. Additionally, I could use specific stations where students work with teammates in order to complete each station in order to move on to the next station that it is slightly more complex. This would enable me to go around and assist individuals that may be having a difficult time while students are kind of self-advancing and pursuing more challenging stations as they accomplish the more basic stations. But that's basically what the data shows. Data shows just what we were expecting, that a pretest They're mostly low scoring. There's some students that are more accomplished in certain areas of the throw, where most of them already know to keep an eye on the ball. Not all of them fully understand following through, where maybe half of them are standing perpendicular to who they are throwing to or their target. A lot of other students are forward facing. And so that just shows that they may not know all of the basics just yet, and that's what this whole test was in order to figure out where they're starting out at to see how we can improve that.